So this is one of the biggest reasons why you would want to incorporate or you wouldn't. How your business would look like if you are an unincorporated contractor or an incorporated contractor. Let's talk about personal assets. Mr. A is, he owns a house and he owns a car as well. So, in case of doing business or doing contracting as an unincorporated professional or as an unincorporated contractor, you and your business are the same. They are the same entity. That means that your assets are also your business's assets, especially in case of a liability. So, for example, you were doing a business, you were an ERP consultant working on a project, $500,000, and that project just failed. You couldn't deliver the project in time or something like that, and your client is really upset about that, and they decide to sue you because of the negligence or whatever. Because of this incident, there a liability arises, and your business has to pay a damage of $250,000, or let's say $1,000,000. So now you don't have that much money in your bank account. Okay, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that the court is going to say, okay, whatever Mr. A's assets are, personal assets are, those assets need to be liquidated and sold. That means sold, and the plaintiff, the client who has sued you, should be paid the $1,000,000. So what Mr. A would have to do is he would have to sell his house and the car and gather all that money and then pay it to the client. In this case, we call it an unlimited liability. That means that in case of a liability, your personal assets are going to be, taken or you are going to be liquidated to cover any kind of liability that arises from the business activity. So as I said, that you failed the project, it was a business activity, but because of that, you had to sell all your computers which were you bought for the business, and any other asset that the business had. And then if you were not able to cover that liability, you would have to sell your personal assets to serve that purpose or cover that liability. So this is called unlimited liability. While in case of the incorporation, because we have the incorporation, so over here we have limited liability. What does that mean? That all the assets, only those assets will be sold in case of that lawsuit. All the assets that are owned by the corporation will be sold and settled against that liability. When you sell all those assets, you were able to gather, let's say, $300,000. Now you won't be required to sell your house and your personal car, because the liability is just limited to the corporation's assets, and nobody would ask to liquidate or sell your personal assets. This is a very big advantage that a corporation would give to your business when you incorporate. In both cases, you can buy, or you should buy insurance to cover those kind of unpleasant events, right? But again, it depends, if insurance covers that kind of a loss or not, and all those things, right? So I hope this is good explanation for personal assets. So if you are an unincorporated contractor, your personal assets are always on the stake. The risk is always very high. Okay, this one. But in case of incorporated, if you are an incorporated contractor, then the risk towards your personal assets is none or very less. Moving on to the other technical thing. So in this case, the ownership of the business is yours, right? And it's basically you who own this sole proprietor. That is why it's called sole proprietor, and there are not going to be multiple owners of this business, right? It's a sole proprietor business. It's self-employed activity, so it's you yourself. You own the name, but you cannot split the ownership. Okay, in case that you say, hey, a friend of mine, Mr. B, he wants to, join me and we are gonna grow together. In that case, there cannot be like two sole proprietors for that business. So you would have to form a partnership. And again, partnership has its own pros and cons, but it's not as simple. The ownership structures, the partnership arrangements, the dissolution and everything, those things are technical. So it's not easy to kind of add more owners to the business. While here, if you incorporate, the ownership is easy. That means that, so for example, if Mr. A owns this corporation, he owns shares of the corporation and he can own 100% shares of the corporation. That means it's kind of the same thing as here. This guy, Mr. A, as an unincorporated, he owns the business as a sole proprietor. Over here, he owns the business as 100% shareholder of the corporation. And now, if it thinks that, hey, I need more people to join me as owners and I want them to take the ownership so that we can grow and all that, it's very easy. He's just gonna give shares, issue shares to those people. Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. X, Y, Z. You can have as many shareholders as you want. It depends again, but that's an easy process. That is one of these 2 points are the main points why they kind of came up with this corporation structure. Next thing, scale. I couldn't find a better word, so it could be scalability in your operations, in your ownership, like growing the business, expanding, right? So when you are expanding, you're unincorporated or as a sole proprietor, it's not a very favorable structure to have when you're scaling, when you want to scale. While over here, there is a lot of plus points. This structure supports scalability, right? So when your business is scaling in terms of operation, in terms of franchises, in terms of employees, this and that, you would definitely want to go incorporated. The unincorporated or sole proprietor will become a kind of a hurdle. I'm going to talk about finance as well. So finance means the money that you might need or Mr. A might need to his business to grow, or maybe to kind of support whatever he's currently doing as a contractor. So as I said, that I'm just referring again and again to contractors, but it could be a freelancer, it could be this guy, Mr. A, he started as a solo contractor, now he got more and more work and he's employing more and more people, so he's growing, right? And when you grow, you might want to have more finance, you want to have funding, right? In this situation, and as an incorporated contractor or as a freelancer or as a sole proprietor, this one again is not a very good option for to procure finance. So when I say finance procurement, I am referring to getting more people to kind of invest in your business. So it won't be easy over here to get that funding into your business as a sole proprietor. While over here, since you will be having shares, so you want to issue new shares, or you want to put a certain value to your current equity or market capitalization, and then it grows. So this one is kind of designed in a way that it supports, as I said, scalability. So it is designed in a way that more and more people can come and invest in the business and provide you the liquidity and the finance that you need to grow your business or run the operations in a better way. So over here you have certain limitations. So this one is gonna this one is quite limited as far as the scope of this activity is concerned, while this one is kind of, I would say, unlimited. Again, referring to the big corporations, the say, Microsofts and the Amazons and the Teslas, all of them have shares, and there are millions of people who invest in those companies every day and divest as well. So it's easier for you to sell your business. So for example, if this guy, unincorporated guy, Mr. A, if he wants to sell his business, it is going to be a really a tough job for him to kind of value his business and then transfer his business, let's say, to his friend. If he wants to transfer his business to his friend, it's not an easy thing to do. But over here, you just have to transfer the ownership of the shares, and you are like, that's why you see those different startups, they get the money, it's very easy for them, and then they grow, and you might want to take an exit from the ownership, and all those things happen because of this structure, the beauty of this structure. And also, if you want to procure finance from many lenders or banks, or they look at this structure more favorably because this one is more mature, it's more solid, it's more scalable. It's the personal credit and personal guarantees and everything is personal here. But over here, it's the corporation which is building up its own credit, which is building up its own relationships, clients, and business, and value in the environment that it's operating. Then the cost. So keeping the costing very simple, because a lot of people ask, hey, what's the cost of this and that? So I would say the cost of having an unincorporated contracting business or becoming an IT contractor or freelancer, the cost is very minimal over here. You really don't have to register anything. You can just start. But let's say you got the master business license, this and that, so maybe you're just talking about maybe $100 or something. I'm just putting a tag here, price. But over here, in terms of the corporation, yes, you have to pay fee for the incorporation. You might have to hire a lawyer, or you might have to talk to some professional accountants who are going to help you incorporate, who are going to give you the advice. You might want to have some legal things. If you have multiple shareholders, you might want to have a shareholder agreement from a lawyer, and this and that. There's going to be registration costs from the province, or it depends on the jurisdiction. So all those costs. So yes, this one is more costly, and I'm just going to put a $600 to, let's say, $1,500. The point is that definitely this one has more costs, and also the cost of running the business is also, or the administrative costs are higher here as well. When I say administrative costs, I mean to say that, for example, you have to file your tax returns for the corporation, you do filings for the corporation to keep it in good standing. You have to do proper bookkeeping and everything for the corporation, because this is more of a, and as it grows, it becomes more and more complex and all that, right? When you hire employees over there, certain requirements. But over here, the administrative costs are not much. The management costs are not too much. Those costs are less here and more here. If you are endeavoring becoming an IT consultant or IT contractor or a freelancer, I think this is a good amount of information to make the decision. I hope that this video really helps you, and if you like it, or if you have any questions, I answer all the comments, so you can just put the question in the comment box, and we'll definitely answer your questions. All right, guys, have a great day. Good luck with contracting.